Hey there. In this video, I would like to discuss a bit about color ID maps and how they're so beneficial when you're modeling and creating assets for game engines. So basically, what you can do with a color ID map is assign certain colors to your model, which will correspond to certain textures. So basically, your model can have multiple textures, but will just have one material, which means it will be optimized a lot better for game engines since it will have to refer to one material rather than however many materials you would have originally put on your model. So let's get a bit into the practicalities of it, and maybe it'll make more sense once this video is over. So I created this simple barrel here, and I'm going to go ahead and add a color ID map to it. Now traditionally what I would do is assign materials to each individual part of the barrel that I wanted to have a unique texture, but there's actually a more efficient and easier way to do that, and that is by using Vertex Paint here in Blender. So the first thing I'm going to do is select the areas that I want to have its own unique texture. So I think the first part I will do that for is this top circle and bottom circle. I'll go to Vertex Paint here, and then what you can do is you can add colors to your palette. So you probably won't have any to begin with. I was messing around earlier and had some. All you really need to do is choose any color here in this color wheel, and then you'll just click the plus button. If you don't have one, there's probably a new button somewhere around here. Just click new. And then you can just click this plus icon and it will add that color to your palette so that you can use it again if you need it. And then what you can do is go to this face selection mask tool here, and whatever area you selected is what will be selected here in Vertex Paint. So if you press Shift K, it will actually apply that color to whichever area was selected in edit mode. So I'm basically just going to do that exact same thing to the rest of the barrel. So I would like these rings here to have its own unique texture. So I'm just going to manually go around to all of these rings here while holding Alt and just select them and then give it its own unique color. So I'll fast forward this portion. So here I have all of my rings selected on this barrel. I'm just going to go back to Vertex Paint, and I'll choose a new color this time. And it's important that you choose a new color because that new color is going to be unique, and that way Substance Painter will be able to pick it up when we apply our textures. So I'll choose a red color perhaps, and then I'll press Shift K again. And now all of these rings have a red color applied to it. I'm going to go and select the body of this barrel here and give that its own unique color as well. And finally, I'll do the same thing for these pegs here. So this right here is our color ID map. It has unique colors applied to every area that we want to have a unique texture. So hopefully that makes sense. And the reason we're going to need this is because when we export this and use it in Substance Painter, we can manually select which areas of this barrel we want to have its own unique texture. So I'm going to go ahead and make a few changes to this barrel, such as change the name and other things like that. And then I'll export this and meet you over in Substance Painter. So I just imported this barrel here into Substance Painter. And the next thing we need to do is bake out our textures. That way we actually bake out that color ID map. So I'm going to change the output size to 2K. And then I'm just going to bake everything. So when this bakes out our color ID map, it's essentially the same thing we would have done in Blender if we applied different materials and baked it manually in there. But Substance Painter can do that for us, so we're just saving some time doing it that way. And as you can see, we have our ID map right here, which is perfect. So the next thing I'm going to do is start assigning textures. So perhaps I'll add in this wood walnut texture. And as you can see, it's going to apply to the entire barrel. But what you can do is you can right click on that texture, choose add mask with color selection, and then you can just pick whichever color you want to have that given texture. So if I choose that green area, look at that, we have all of the green area applied with this wood walnut texture, which is awesome. The next thing I'll do is add a different texture, perhaps maybe this wood chestnut. And once again, it's going to apply to the entire model. So I'm just going to right click it, choose add mask with color selection, and just pick a different color once again. And that's really all you have to do to your models, is just assign whichever textures you want to that respective color. I'm not going to worry about making this barrel look super nice. I just want to get the point across for this video. And then I'll show you how you can export out the textures and apply it to a material in Unity. So I think I'll add one more texture. I'll just choose maybe this wood beached. And then I'll right click, choose add mask with color selection. Choose that blue color. And there we go, we have a nicely textured barrel. Obviously I can make this look a lot nicer and clean up the seam here, but for now I'm just going to leave it, that way we can get through with this video. So to export out the textures, all you have to do is right click, choose export textures. I'm going to change my given exporting location to my desktop. I'll also change the config to my Unity 5 with AO. This is my custom one with ambient occlusion. You can set that up on your own. You just have to read up on how to set up AO in Substance Painter. And I'll leave everything else as it is and press export. So once those textures have finished exporting, you can go into Unity and import all of your textures and the FBX file of your model, or you can just drag that in. I think that's what I will do. So I'm just going to go over to my desktop. I have a different monitor which you can't see right now, and I'll just drag all of that in to this scene. I'll drag in the barrel, and there it is, just as we created in Blender. And then for the barrel, what we can do is apply all of these textures that Substance Painter generated for us. So for this albedo texture, you can just drag that into the albedo slot. Same for the metallic, the normal, and you're just going to have to click fix now if an issue occurs. And the same for the ambient occlusion if you have that enabled. And the naming convention might be a bit different for you, but the process is the same. So that's all you have to do to create a color ID map and apply textures to your models. And as you can see, we have one single material here rather than 3 separate materials, which is what I see a lot of people do. And all that's doing is just giving your game a lot more to deal with. Rather than dealing with 3 materials, we can just deal with 1, as you saw in this case. So that's a bit about color ID maps and how they're beneficial, and you can use them to optimize your game assets. So I hope this quick tutorial helped you out, and I'll see you in the next one.